All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, Ship It Nation YouTube station? We are back with another edition of the NBA show. I got my guy Matt with me today. It's our debut. It's our first show together, Matt. Nice to be in the booth with you. I always watch you and Rio do your thing, but now, hey, it's going to be me and you every Friday. I'll kick it over to you here in a second, but hey, if you are new to us, make sure you're hitting that like. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. We certainly appreciate it. But Matt, my week was good. I saw a very good college football game last night. I don't know if you stayed up for that. I saw some people tilting in the chat last night as well for a game that got rained out in the NBA of all things. So I don't know what DK and FanDuel did about that. But hey, how was your week? Nice to see you and happy to do a show with you.
Yeah, man, week's going pretty good. Better now that I'm here doing an NBA show with you. Like you said, our debut. So first show together. College football game was amazing last night. You know, depending on what side you were on, was a little bit better than if you were on the other side, but just a great game overall. Crazy rain out postponement in the NBA, which certainly you don't see that every day. And I was giving you some flowers before the show, but I wanted to give them to you while we were on here so everyone can hear about it. Like I said, it's our first show. I was out for a while with back surgery, as I told you guys a couple shows ago, but this guy Ham picked up so much of the slack while I was gone. Again, never met him before. Just started with Ship It a little bit ago, as everyone knows. So can't tell you all how appreciative and how thankful I am of this guy right here, and cannot wait to get after it in this show and then every Friday moving forward.
Yeah, awesome. I'm certainly glad to help out. The big thing is that Matt's healthy. We're all here healthy today, so appreciate it. Let's shout out some people in the chat. We got Jordan, Coach Sav, The Answer. What's going on, The Answer? I got BG Littleneck Williams in here. Parabay's in here. Hey, the ham stash is I don't know what OP means, OP, but hey, I appreciate him. I got from the baseball streets, Pojin, DJ, and Stoner. Hey, he said he was never coming back till I grew my stash, so we need to get after him. But FanDuel and DraftKings did us a favor today. I guess FanDuel did because they normally do those late night games, Matt, but they're both 7-game slates tonight. I think the big talking point, well, I'll let you give a broad slate overview of the slate. No Trae Young tonight, but what's a broad slate overview, and just tell us where the value is going to be? I think we could figure that one out pretty quickly.
Yeah, so we see slates like this in the NBA, like, I don't know, once every week, couple weeks. We just had one with Denver last week when they had all their guys out. But the theme of this slate is going to be OKC. How much is too much, if there is an answer to that question as far as players from the Thunder go. You got no Shea, no Chet, no Cason Wallace, no Jalen with a Y Williams. So a ton of guys out for the Thunder in a game against the Grizzlies that now I guess should be competitive. So I think that's going to be the big talking point on the slate. Not that there aren't other good spots to talk about, but really hard to give an overview of this slate and not mention OKC as the big theme.
Yeah, OKC going to be the value. No Hartenstein too that I just saw. I saw Jamal Murray, I believe, got mid-grade downgrade to questionable, so he may not play. It's looking like Trae Young is out, as I alluded to, which I don't even know if he's on this he's on the slate, but he's not playing. And then the two new Atlanta guys, McCollum and Kispert, are out as well. But we'll do our best to break it all down for you in this 7 games. We'll jump into the first game. We're going to go through the stone that you see here. We got the Raptors. I didn't mention Scotty Barnes. He's also questionable as well. My boy Jakob Poeltl still out as well. But they're 10.5-point dogs going into Boston. Boston slated to score 117, 224.5-point total. Talk to me about this game, Matt. Raptors at the Celtics.
Yeah, so Barnes actually got downgraded to doubtful, I believe. So,
okay.
Yeah, even more unlikely that he plays, which does open up some things for Toronto. Overall, though, this is not a great game from a DFS perspective. I don't think there's going to be too much we want from it. I think as far as the Boston side goes, kind of the same characters that are in play, that are always in play, starting with Jaylen Brown. Just a matter of, like, whether you want to allocate 9,500 for Jaylen Brown in this spot. I don't think he's a bad play. I just don't think he's a priority. Kind of feel the same about Derek White. Like, if you're landing on these guys, I'm totally cool with it, but I don't think they're priorities. And then from the Toronto side, with Barnes doubtful, Ingram was at shoot around, so we'll presume that he's going to play. There just isn't a ton to like here, even with that Barnes news. Like Colin Murray Boyles, okay. Price is up, though, at 4,800, so I'm not, like, excited about it. I think the one guy that, if I were making one lineup that I could see myself playing, certainly wouldn't be a priority, but I could see myself playing, is RJ Barrett. I just don't think the price tag has caught up to his role. Certainly when everyone on Toronto is healthy, it's hard to pick through the mud there. Like, they just have so many guys that are able to contribute in a lot of the same ways. But when you take Barnes out, Barrett's price tag's rising a little bit, but not enough. I'm sure it'll kind of stabilize around 7K. He's been good. So at 6,500, he's my favorite piece of Toronto and maybe of this game. But all in all, again, if I'm making one lineup, I don't know if there's anyone from this game that makes that one lineup. Do you see it similarly or different?
Yeah, probably the same, especially with what we have in the other 6 game as well. One thing I did want to ask you about, though, was Sam Hauser at 3,700. Played 30 minutes last game, starting for Jordan Walsh now. What about him at 3,700, or is he just not do enough for you, to pay off that tag?
I do think those minutes are volatile depending on how he's playing. So at that price point, I kind of like that for tournaments. Like, okay, I don't think he's a value play that we're like starting our rosters with, but I do think he's viable in the sense that if he gets hot from 3, the minutes can get up there towards, like you said, the 30-ish mark. But generally speaking, like, I don't project him for that minutes, so his projection just isn't going to look great.
Got it. Hey, one thing as well that I forgot to mention pre-show is you got some big shoes to fill, Matt. In Rio for the people, it's gone like 27-0 in his last 27 bets. So at the end of the show, we'll ask you to give some bets. So hopefully you got one up your sleeve. And he hasn't really gone 27-0, but he's done very good. So be thinking about one as we're talking. We'll go through that as well when we do that. Yeah, excellent stuff there on that breakdown. Next one up is the 76ers at the Magic. Healthy, 227.5 point total. Sixers are 3.5 point favorites, and that's because there are a lot of missing pieces from this Orlando team. You got the Wagner brothers. They're not playing tonight. Jalen Suggs is out for the Magic as well. And then Embiid, I think I said it earlier, but if I didn't, Embiid looks like he is going to play. Tyrese Maxey, he's been pretty darn good this year. Edgecombe up to $6,800 as well. So talk to me a little bit about this game. You got the shorthanded Magic coming off of, what was it? Was it the Nets they beat late the other night? But shorthanded Magic taking on this 76ers team. Talk to me about this one.
So it's funny because of how this slate plays out with OKC providing so much value. And then there's some other spots that have value pieces too, but namely OKC. It's almost like I'm star hunting in other spots because I don't think we're going to have value plays that are better than the OKC value plays. So it's really a matter of like, what stars do I want to play? And this game, I think, provides some opportunity to play some studs. I think Joel Embiid himself looks pretty good. The price tag stabilizing around the 9K mark. We know that he can smash that in tournaments. Like, he projects for a fine score there, 45-ish fantasy points, but we know the upside's real there. And then Tyrese Maxey, he's just continued to produce all season when Embiid's been in, when Embiid's been out. His tag's dropping a little bit, 9,700. He always plays a ton of minutes. Ownership is not there right now. And I think he looks good as a contrarian star if you're playing a lot of the OKC value. Flipping it to the other side, I kind of feel the same about Paolo Banchero. Outside of that game where they just were awful against Washington and their starters got benched midway through the third quarter, Banchero's been really, really good on a bit of a heater. So at 9,300, again, that's a little bit of sticker shock for Banchero, but he's worth it right now. So I could see playing off like the Maxey Banchero combo, Embiid Banchero. If you think Philly just rolls here playing both of Embiid and Maxey, I don't hate that. Philly is about as healthy as we've ever seen them. I mean, in years, I can't remember Philly being this healthy. So that is worth noting. I think because of that, I'm not as interested in like the second tier players. Edgecombe has been really good. So if you want to get there, I'm cool with it. After that, I don't think there's anyone on Philly I'm really looking at. And then from the Orlando side, it's really Banchero or bust just because of how these guys are priced and how OKC looks.
Yeah, Jordan had asked about Black, and you obviously said it's Banchero or bust. So no Black for you at 7.5. That does seem like a steep price to pay for him. He did have 58 3 games ago, and then he came back down to being Anthony Black and had like 18 and 21. So I'm with you there. And then Banchero is probably my favorite Magic as well. Just looking to see who is he missed the other night. Didn't Wendell Carter Jr. miss the other night, or am I thinking something?
I don't think so. I think because they all got benched, and then
I was wondering why Jace Richardson had like 30 DraftKings 30 DraftKings points a couple nights ago, and it's because they all got benched. There you go. So and I heard you say this as well, but I just want to make sure that people heard it. So you're fine with Embiid and Maxey together on the same team?
Yeah, I am. Again, in tournaments, if you're playing off that, like Philly just has a really good game here. Again, I'm kind of the opinion that positive correlation in NBA like isn't accounted for enough. So I'm cool playing those guys. If I were playing one line and hand building it, I probably wouldn't land on Embiid and Maxey just because there are other stars to spend on. But I do see outcomes where that plays out. And in tournaments, it's all about getting up, to the very top. So again, do I think that's the likeliest outcome? No, but am I fine with it? Yeah.
Are you fine with it without any Magic bring back? Like, would you want Paolo in there? Or is that just too much salary on one game?
Seems like a lot of salary to allocate, and I think that if you can make it work, which on this slate you might be able to, I'm fine with it, but I don't think you have to do that. I will just reiterate that I do like better. Like, my favorite pairing from this game is probably Maxey and Paolo, but of the three main stars, I'm good with pairing any of them in any way you want. And then just to touch on Anthony Black real quick, I think he's intriguing / enticing in tournaments. Certainly in cash games, there's just going to be other guys that project better than him that are the same price or cheaper. But we've seen the ceiling. So again, like if you're playing this game, like it's competitive, you get a real high scoring game. Maybe you get an outlier in some regards. Maybe in that Embiid and Maxey pairing, if you can't fit Banchero, maybe you play Black. I look at Black and Bane pretty similarly. That's why Banchero stands out. He just seems like the alpha right now.
Yeah, good stuff there. Moving on to the next game. This is everybody's favorite game. You got the New Orleans Pelicans taking on the Wizards. And what is going to be a horrible real-life game, I think, Matt, should be a spicy one for daily fantasy. We got 142.5 point total. We have skinny Zion leading his team into Washington. Once again, no Trae Young in this game. No C.J. McCollum or Corey Kispert. They now reside in Atlanta. And then on the Pelicans side, you do have some injuries as well. You have Dejounte Murray, who's been out all season. Bay is out. Herb Jones is still out. So you got a few, I guess, key pieces missing, or at least some guys that get some minutes normally. But any love for anybody, Zion or anybody else on this Pelicans team taking on Washington?
Yeah, definitely going to be some love for the Pelicans here, starting with Zion, who at 8K is just still too cheap. Minutes are creeping up a little bit. I think he just looks like kind of a cog in the machine type. I wouldn't get too carried away or expect too high of a ceiling here, even in this spot. But I think he's got a really, really high floor with a decently high ceiling at 8K. So he looks good here. Derek Queen also looks good. Has been really popular lately. Is projected to be really popular again tonight. I get it. Just a really good spot here. Projects very, very well at 6,200. So both those guys, I think Zion and Derek Queen look like two of the, better plays on the slate. Jeremiah Fears and Trey Murphy, I think, look good in their own right. Probably more tournament plays than Zion and Queen, but I think you can play all four of those guys really in any format. Then the other guy that looks to be in play for me is Yves Missi. 3,400, kind of has seemingly taken over the backup center role now from Looney. Projects for like close to 20 minutes. I think you could do worse at 3,400. I'm not going out of my way for it. I don't think you need it, especially with OKC. But as a pivot off of like a Brandon Carlson, I don't hate it. So, yeah, OKC looks to be in a really good spot here. And then Washington does too. This game is, like you said, really appealing from a DFS perspective.
Yeah, anybody on Washington that sticks out to you?
Yeah, probably Sarr is the one guy that sticks out in a big way. Again, another center, so there's opportunity cost at center tonight, even without Jokic, but Sarr looks really good here. They've said that his minutes are back up to normal, 7,300. We've seen him just destroy this price tag in kind of whatever spot he's been in. So, yeah, I like Sarr a lot. Koulibaly, I like quite a bit, 5,300. Again, I think he's another cog in the machine type. He fills up the stat sheet in terms of the defensive stuff, so can get there on bad shooting nights, which you always like to see. Chris Middleton at the flat 4K, kind of compare him to Klay Thompson last night. Like, you're never excited about playing Klay Thompson or Middleton, but when these guys get to be 3,800 like Klay last night, who happened to have a big game, or Middleton 4K, and they're playing decent minutes, they're at least in play. So Washington looks good here. Keyshawn George back in the mix after missing, I think, 7 games. He's only 6,100. A little bit hesitant with him coming back and how Washington kind of likes to spread out their minutes. But would I be shocked if he got there? No. Bub Carrington, Trey Johnson. Outside of OKC, I think both New Orleans and Washington look like maybe the 2 best teams on the slate.
Yeah, if I'm playing some guy named DeAndre Ayton against the Pelicans, I'm certainly playing Alexander Sarr. I see my guy Hebrew Cheetah's in the chat, and hey, he always tells me that the Pelicans are bad versus the Centers. So I'm firing me up some Alexander Sarr. Good call there. One thing I did want to ask you, I know you said, you could play up to, I guess, 4 Pelicans. Are you fine with playing Queen and Williamson on the same team, or is it kind of like one of those two and maybe a Fears or Murphy?
Well, first off, let me just when I said I'm cool playing those 4, I don't think there's any scenario where I would be playing all 4 of them together. Yeah, just because of their salaries. Yeah. But as far as Zion and Queen go, do I think it's like an ideal pairing? Am I going out of way to play them together? No. But again, I do think there's positive correlation in NBA. Certainly you could get gain scripts here where the game just blows up, or New Orleans has a really good game. We've seen that a ton against Washington. So I wouldn't go out of my way to avoid it either. They play different positions. They share a lot of the same court time. So, no, I don't think there's any real reason you have to choose between them. And to answer your next question, as far as running it back with Washington, I think that will happen naturally. So I think playing Queen and Zion, honestly, like, it might be when all is said and done and we get to lock, that might be like the cash game optimal. I'm not sure right now, but I think that's possible.
Yeah. And Newlands is right. I'm not playing a guy with no knees, $4,000. I don't care. I'm not playing my boy Chris Middleton. I wouldn't have played him when he was in Milwaukee. I'm definitely not playing him now that he's in Washington with like a half a knee going there. Next game up on the slate is Kawhi Leonard and his Los Angeles Clippers taking on the Brooklyn Nets. And the Brooklyn Nets have been they've been juicy this week, Matt. They've been missing some dudes, and Day'Ron Sharpe's been balling out a little bit, but Kawhi's been balling. No major injury news that I'm aware of. Maybe I missed something, but any interest in this game? You have LA at Brooklyn, 7:30 tip.
I'm pretty sure your boy Kawhi is questionable, so that's the big injury news here. Presuming he's in, man, there isn't a ton from this game. This looks like maybe the worst game on the entire slate from a DFS perspective. If he's in. If he's out, everyone from the Clippers gets a bump. I think Harden, now under 9K, would look the best. He's 9,100, excuse me. So I was looking at FanDuel, and I think he's under 9K there, so got it a little mixed up. But he's 9,100. He would look good if Kawhi is out. We know that he can produce. He smashed that tag a ton. So I think Harden would be the guy I'd want to go to most if Kawhi is out. If Kawhi is in, I'm not really seeing it. From the Brooklyn side, like, they're in probably the worst spot in the entire slate. So not interested in them. Zubats, I guess, from the Clippers side is fine. I just think there's better center options, like, at basically every price point. So yeah, this game is not very appealing to me. Do you see it different?
No. It's I'm never the Nets. I hate playing the Nets. I guess MPJ's that was the last year thing, and MPJ's kind of had a good year. But at that price, I'm not paying those prices for him. And then, maybe if Kawhi's out, you look to James Harden, but no Zubac. And then, William, we answered this in the last game. Zion and Queen are fine in the same lineup. It's not like a priority thing, but if you land on it, certainly okay with getting there. All right, let's move on to the next one. And this is going to have a lot of talking points. You got the Thunder. You got the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies earlier today, Matt, I don't know if you saw it, but I guess Ja's on the trading block. He's been out for the last few games, I believe, and now they're saying he's on the trading block, but there's going to be tons of value in here. Let's break this one down pretty good. You got Ja's out, Chet's out, SGA's out, Edie's been out, Hartenstein's out. Like you said, Case and Wallace, and what is it? I mean, I know it's Jalen Williams. Is it J-Dub or the other J, whatever they call him? He's out with the Y. So talk to me. Break this one down for me. You got the Thunder at the Grizzlies, 229.5 point total.
So I think I'll start with the Memphis side just because they're pretty easy. There's really only two guys from Memphis that I like. One of them, or you could say both of them are priorities, but Cam Spencer, number one, 6,500 point guard, shooting guard. With no Ja, he's just a guy I want to play. The price tag, isn't as favorable as it's been in the past, but 6,500, I'm fine with it. So he's a guy I like a lot. And then Jock Landale, 4,900. He looks good here. So I think there are better center options, but I think he's a way to get off the beaten path a little bit without giving up a ton of projection and gaining some ownership leverage. So Landale is in the pool for me, and I like Spencer a lot. Spencer's a guy, if I were playing one lineup, he'd likely be in it. As far as OKC goes, I think you want, at least 3, if not 4 of these guys in basically every lineup you're making. J-Dub, Jalen Williams, the one who's in, I think he's the guy I'm most leery of just because they're resting all their other main guys. That being said, they're not resting him, and he missed a ton of time earlier in the season. So maybe this is about his opportunity to just go nuts and just have the ball in his hands a ton and just kind of be the guy. So I like Jalen Williams at 7,500. Ownership is there as it should be because he's too cheap, just like all these OKC guys are. So after him, AJ Mitchell seems like the just lock of the slate, projecting for a ton of ownership, will probably be even higher owned than he's projected, but you just play him and move on, in my opinion. I mentioned Brandon Carlson in passing earlier. I don't know how you don't play him here with OKC basically missing all their centers. I forgot about Hartenstein, who you mentioned. No Chet, no Jalen Williams. So it's really between him and Kenrich Williams, who's also wildly in play here at 3,400. Aaron Wiggins, 4,200. I think his ownership only rises as we get closer to lock. Had a really good first half last night or the night before, whenever that was. 4,200, eligible at both forward spots. Hard to get away from him. Isaiah Joe, only shooting guard eligible. Not quite as owned as the other guys because hasn't been playing as much, but I think he looks really good in tournament at 3,500. Alex Caruso, if he plays, in play at 3,700. Lou Dort, I don't like him as much as the other guys, but in play, especially if he's not going to get ownership, which he's not, it's a nice way to get exposure to this game without going into all that ownership. But yeah, OKC, we'll have to wait and see who they're starting, but all these guys that are going to play are wildly in play because they're all super cheap. So it's just a matter of how much OKC you want. I think if I'm playing one lineup right now, I'm playing 4 OKC guys.
Wow. Is there one that maybe you think is bad chalk in this game? And I'll give you mine. Or I'll go ahead and then I'll tell you who I was thinking.
Yeah, I think it's certainly possible that a bunch of these guys fail. So I don't think it's like, automatic that all these guys smash. But I do think at their price tags, all of these guys are going to project well. At chalk, I think the one guy I'd be most apt to get away from. You know what? I'll say this. There isn't one guy I'm like, I think that you need to get away from, but I think getting away from any of them except for AJ Mitchell is more than viable. Like there are paths to all of them failing except for AJ Mitchell, where there's certainly a path to him failing. I just think he's the least likely to fail. So after him, my answer is just going to be, I think you could fade any one of them in any lineup. How about you?
Yeah, I'm with you. I love AJ Mitchell, especially when SGA is out and he can handle the ball more. But and I hate saying this because he's so cheap. But Brandon Carlson, I think he could fail going up against Jaren Jackson Jr. / Jock Landale. But he has to. I mean, how many points does he have to get? Right? I mean, he has to get 20 points
at least, because it's not just about becoming value for him. It's about like, if he only gets 20 points, which might look good and give you the flame on DK, but then Sarr and Embiid both go for 50 plus, like you're in a bad spot with Carlson. So I think that would be my answer too. And not even with him, like just failing, like, because like you just said, if he gets 20 points, that might not be him failing per se, but it's not a good score or what you need. So right. I'm kind of on the same page as you.
Yeah, let's see. Carlson's projected for we're for 25. So even at 25, I mean, yeah, I got some hesitation with that guy. Moving on to the next game. Before we go there, if you haven't already, make sure you're hitting that like, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. We got 2 games left. We're breaking it all down. Matt and mine's first show together. It's going great. We got the Hawks traveling to what is it, 50-28 or whatever that elevation is, to Denver to take on the Nuggets. Still no Jokic. She's out. Joe Vol is out as well. I did see that Jamal Murray was a midday downgrade. Matt, correct me if I'm wrong on that. So he may be out in this one. And then no CJ McCollum and no Corey Kispert either for the Hawks. So talk to me a little bit about this game. You have a decent total at 233. Hawks slightly favored going into the Mile High City.
So, yeah, earlier in the show when we were talking about the Orlando game, I mentioned that, with a lot of the other games outside of the OKC game, I'm going to be star hunting a little bit because there's so much value there. We can kind of play whoever we want. And this was a game I definitely had circled as far as star hunting with Jamal Murray and Jalen Johnson. Now, if Murray plays, I'm still interested in that. But, yeah, the midday downgrade, illness. We've seen a bunch of recent midday downgrades end up playing for whatever reason with Anthony Edwards and some other guys. I don't think that's a trend. I think we just kind of saw that this week. So I certainly lean towards guys not playing when they have a midday downgrade, which would change a lot for Denver. Now, they are a lot healthier than they were last week. They've got a lot of their ancillary pieces back. A bunch of those guys aren't playing full minutes yet, so it's hard to trust any one of those guys. If Murray's in, it's really only Murray from the Denver side. If he's out, I think you can start looking at everyone else. Jalen Pickett would be the guy I'm most interested in, but he would need to be starting with, everyone else, presumably back. Now he's 4,600 now. So again, he would have to be starting, but if Jamal Murray's out, I'd be interested in him. Like, he can fill it up, and they just lack offensive creators with Murray out. So Denver is going to be kind of a wait-and-see approach. From the Atlanta side, I got no problems with going right back to Jalen Johnson, who has been really, really popular in every slate he's been on recently. Saw that come down a little bit the last slate, and it's coming down even more tonight with the price tag rising. I just like him a lot. I think that basically in any competitive Atlanta game, he's likely to get there. I think this game's competitive, whether Murray plays or not. So I like Jalen Johnson a lot here. I also like Okongwu. Missed last game, now priced down a little bit at 7,100. Might get Porzingis, who also was midday downgraded out here, which would only boost his minute equity. So Jalen Johnson and Okongwu, 2 guys I like, decent amount here. And Okongwu is going to be unowned at the same price as Sarr. So I do like this game from a DFS perspective. Just kind of have to wait and see on the Denver side with Murray.
Yeah, one name you didn't mention, and I got made fun of for calling him NWA the other day, but NAW, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, he's chucking it up there, 15, 18 times a game. I think I like him in this matchup at 7,200, but yeah, you can't go wrong with Okongwu. And I like what you said about Porzingis. If he misses, Okongwu is going to get a whole lot more minutes. And then Newlands was in the chat talking about Dyson Daniels at 7K. I don't hate that one as well, coming off a 42 DraftKings point performance. And yeah, Jordan and Triscuit, my apologies. I did not know how many feet were in the mile off the top of my head, so I apologize on that. I'll just see it on the record. But there you go. Should be pretty easy. Excellent stuff there, Matt. We got one game left on the slate to talk about. It is the New York Knicks taking on the Suns, and my boy Colin Gillespie. He's been playing great as of late, but in this one, no major injuries for the Suns that I'm aware of. Jalen Green is out. He's been out, I think, all season long. And then Josh Hart is out on the Knicks side. And then former Wichita State great Landry Shamet is also out for the Knicks. So talk to me a little bit about this game. It's the last game on the slate for us. 228-point total. It's basically a pick 'em.
Yeah, so this slate is interesting in the sense that, like, because of the OKC value and the Washington-New Orleans game getting so much love, it's almost like every other spot is going to be unowned. And that's what we're seeing here. And I don't like it more than those spots. but I do think there's tournament upside scattered throughout this game. First guy that I look at that I think is a really good tournament play is Karl Anthony Towns, who Rio and I called out last slate after he had dudded the slate before that, was 8,300 against the Clippers, had a pretty good game. I think he finished with like 50 fantasy points or close to it. Now is priced even lower at 8,100. His average tag on DraftKings this year is over 9,100. So we're getting $1,000 discount on that, and he's not getting ownership. That's a combination I love. You just don't see it that often, especially in NBA. So Karl Anthony Towns, the more I look at this slate, he might be a priority for me here. I like him quite a bit. I like Miles McBride, who Rio shouted out last slate to be a candidate to start because he was playing so well, ended up starting and then having another really good game. So he's too cheap at 4,400. Brunson, for some reason, priced down at 8,600. I like him, especially with like unlimited salary to spend. The Knicks look pretty good here. It's not like the best spot on paper. I don't love going out of my way to pick on the Suns, but I'm not afraid of it either. And the Knicks have just been priced down to a point where I think all these guys are at least in play. I don't think you have to play them, but they're at least in play. And then from the Phoenix side, you talked about Gillespie. I mean, no reason he's not in play here, especially if you think this game's competitive. Mark Williams, who, you know, we've seen be very up and down, which isn't a bad thing in tournaments. He's still really cheap at 5,200. Devin Booker, 8,400. It's the cheapest we've seen him in a long time. I mean, hasn't always gotten there, and I think that he's certainly better served in tournaments, but he can win you any slate he's on. So 8,400. It's easy to pair these guys now. Like a month ago or at any point last year or tonight per se, we could have seen it. Like you could have had Booker over 9K, both Brunson and Cat over 9K. Now these guys are like low 8K range. You could play them all together conceivably. And if this game kind of goes nuts, you're in a really, really good spot. Dylan Brooks under 6K. I like this game. I don't think that this game projects amazing for these price tags, but I think that the price tags are low enough where there's a lot of hidden upside here. So just talking this out, I like this game in tournaments.
Yeah, I do too, actually. And you called out the villain, right? Dylan Brooks, 38 DraftKings points under last game, under 5,900. Hey, Oregon football's playing tonight. Dylan Brooks is a Oregon alum. So, hey, the little Tambo narrative right there. Tambo comes up with some of the craziest narratives, too. He's a trip. But Dylan Brooks at 5,900. I love that. Colin Gillespie, former national champion at Villanova, is in a great spot, too, 6,400. So, yeah, I like what you said. This game has sneaky shootout potential, in my opinion. And I love your call of Cat. I don't like it that he's $9,200 on FanDuel, which obviously I don't love that being $1,100 more than he is on DK, but I think this is a great game. This one, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off. You finish.
No, I'm done.
So that kind of just plays into the point. He's $1,100 more on FanDuel. That just speaks to how he's too cheap on DraftKings, and he's not even getting ownership on DraftKings. Like he's not going to be unowned, but he'll be like 10%-ish owned, and he's unequivocally too cheap. So I'm not like a Cat guy. He's not someone I play a ton of, but I think I'm going to dip into that pool tonight.
Yeah, love that call there. That'll do it. That's all 7 games from us. Certainly appreciate everyone who tuned in. If you're watching on replay, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. We certainly appreciate it over here. All right, now for everybody's favorite portion of the show, man, I'm going to put you on the spot. I don't know if you ever watch our shows with Rio, but I'm going to ask you 3 questions. First question is, who's the leading point getter, DK point getter on the slate tonight? Salary doesn't matter.
Jalen Johnson
leading the slate. Who's the best value? Let's go sub 7K. 7K or below.
Sub 7K, best value on the slate. That's a good question. It's hard not to go with one of these OKC guys. I feel like that's such a cheap answer, but I'm going to go AJ Mitchell. You got to give me
the most DraftKings points. Give me the most DraftKings points, 7K or below.
AJ Mitchell.
AJ Mitchell. All right. And then we got to go bet. Do you see any bets, or I don't know if you're a gambler or not. I'm assuming you are. Any bets you like tonight?
Yeah, you know what? I know that the Wizards are a hard team to back, but Why on earth are the Pelicans road favorites against anyone? They shouldn't be road favorites against my high school basketball team. So give me the Wizards getting points here, even though it's the Wizards and they stink. The Pelicans road favorites, no thanks. Give me Washington.
Yeah, there you go. You heard it here first. Wizards outright. Don't even need the points. Save them for the next game. Hey, we certainly appreciate you tuning in. We'll be here each and every Friday throughout the NBA season. Matt is here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Matt will have you covered Saturday and Sunday with a quick hit video on Saturday, and he's filling in for me on Sunday doing the wrap right up there too. So we certainly appreciate it. If you aren't a member over at the Nation, head over there now. You can get 5 days for $19 if you enter the promo code SHIP19. That'll get you all the NBA. That'll get you all of our NFL playoff stuff that we have on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday night as well. For my guy, Matt, I'm Ham. Y'all have a great weekend. Stay safe out there. We'll see you at the top of the leaderboards. Let's ship it.